then at that time, everything went black.
I picked the guy up again, and this time it pulled both of my hamstrings.
Just through the rain, you just see these bullets just hitting the side of the truck and peppering it again, and we're trying to
give any kind of second thought about it. I just ran in there.
On 17 December, our mission was to conduct a site recon for an emplacement of a future ANSF checkpoint.
We decided to take a patrol out there, take some engineers, some French engineers out there, and just get it done as quickly as possible, take some photos, measurements, and be done with it. Due to the fact that we knew if we go out there, we're going to get in a firefight. We do every time we go out there.
At the time, I was on top of the ridge line. Started getting calls from the team sergeant, Frank Miller, that they were taking more and more small arms fire, RPGs, sniper fire. And he asked, hey, can you kind of speed things up here? Ain't no issues. And I was sensing that things were deteriorating.
And then right as I was moving from one vehicle to another with Sergeant Gassman, a large explosion went off right above me. I thought it was another RPG, and we had a sniper position in the high ground. Called up to them, and they said everything was fine.
And after the blast, you know, all the equipment is not working right. You know, plus there's a bunch of iron ore in the area, so comms were a serious issue.
Still couldn't get in touch with them. I started moving back to other vehicles, making sure everybody's okay. And as I was doing that, all I heard was broken transmissions of urgent surgical, meaning we're going to need to call in a medevac.
The JTAC, Ted Hoffnick, he acknowledged, and he started calling in a medevac and said he was moving to my location. And then also, Sergeant Matt Gassman acknowledged, heard the radio transmission, said, hey, I'm moving to your location.
We had dealt with this type of fire before, but the fact that I now had urgent surgical to deal with and enemy fire with my elements spread out became a little more of I really needed to get control of the situation and find out what was going on.
Sergeant Matt Gassman came up, and he had taken a little while longer because he was trying to scale a cliff on the north side of this rock outcropping, ran through all kinds of fire, but he ran straight up that mountain, and I said, hey Matt, we got some serious injuries here. I'm going to need you to take this guy down to the HLZ. And he just said, hey Roger, got it. And really without even stopping, catching his breath a second time, he just bent down and picked him up, put him on his shoulder, and him and Hoffnick started heading down the mountain.
I had a visual of a group of people coming down the mountain. Ran up to them, saw that they were carrying an injured individual. Captain Fox was obviously disoriented, and a couple of the other individuals that were up there it was pretty obvious they had sustained blast, but everybody was moving under their own will.
At this time, I was totally exhausted. I could barely just drag the guy, let alone put him on my shoulder. And Frank said, hey, I got it. Bends down, puts him in a fireman's carry, and picks him up. Keep in mind, Frank had just scaled this mountain, which is, you know, several hundred vertical feet. Very, very tough terrain.
He actually moved down the mountain to cover me. I picked the guy up again, and this time it pulled both of my hamstrings out.
So then I rushed back to him, and again, trying to help him get this thing back up on his shoulders. I later realized that he had strained both hamstrings, and I saw the bruise on the back of those legs after we got back from the mission.
So I got the guy back up again on my shoulder, and just continued down the mountain. And Captain Fox saw that I was having difficulties carrying this guy, so he actually ran across the wadi in the open and went to try to get help. And basically put me behind a tree, and so I could put me behind a tree so I could catch my breath. I do remember Captain Fox running and actually going to get water, and ran all the way back to me, a good 50 or 100 meters, and just bring me water.
Sergeant Matt Gassman had picked up our wounded Afghan partner, and he had moved down the mountain and all through a hail of enemy fire to the HLZ. At that HLZ, they had to abort because they were taking too much fire at that location.
So we got everybody loaded up in the LMTV, sent a group dismounted, running behind and in front of the vehicle. Sergeant Hoffnick and Sergeant Gassman ran with the vehicle to cover it.
Again, still taking fire. Matt Gassman moved in front of the vehicle as the lead security, and he led this vehicle through this very narrow road, taken back to the MSR. After we had finally completed the medevac, we collapsed all of our security positions and then returned to base.
Definitely did not fail that day. We accomplished our mission. We got the site survey finished, and that was the goal. It was just, that was bad luck. And a way of mitigating bad luck is through proper training, through preparation. We're never going to leave somebody behind. That's not even an option.
The guys went into the house, they cleared the house. Next thing we know is we get a call of the radio landslide, which means the house is rigged to blow, or they identified some sort of explosive in the house. So they came out. At the time I was an 18 Charlie, which is a Special Forces engineer, and I was the only one in the area. So I actually came into the house, I located where it was, and come to find out it was only the casing for a plastic Italian mine shell. Took 3 rounds to the arm. We moved to the back of the truck. We started laying cover fire. I looked at my arm. I saw a slight hole. I didn't see any blood. And my adrenaline was just pumping at the time. I was more excited about the firefight. So we started laying cover fire again. We started taking heavy fire from a PKM. What we identified was a PKM nest up top on the hill. I immediately opened the back of the Humvee while the gunner up top started laying fire. I grabbed the SMAD out the back, ran into the open, and I saw where it came from, and I started firing. I fired the first SMAD into what I identified as a PKM nest. At that point in time, the interpreter is screaming for the medic. He came over, addressed the wounds, started bandaging them, and as he finished bandaging them, One of the other guys on the team was yelling for a couple guys to assist him in bounding to one of the nests that was only about 300 meters out to the east. So at the time, we attempted to flank him, went up. We got over there and we suppressed it. We killed this nest. We pretty much wiped it out and it was done. And then we started to move back into the position of the vehicles. They called me in for the driving position because obviously the chaos that was going on, different fighting positions, different moving parts all together at once. Not too many people knew that someone had been hit. It was something out of a movie. I'm talking, it was just pouring down rain. It just, anything and every horrible possible thing could have went wrong, just went wrong that day. The rain was going down. The Humvee got stuck. I couldn't do too much with one hand, so I swapped out with the gunner. And not even 2 minutes later after that, just through the rain, you just see these bullets just hitting the side of the truck and peppering it again, and we're trying to move out this next position. Don't have time to think about. It's more or less you're worried about, I may have gotten shot, but the guy next to me, if he gets shot, you know, how many more people before we start actually moving out from where we are, going to the next situation.
A friend and I were on the way back from, just hanging out, and she was going to give me a ride home, and she just happened to see smoke. And I was like, oh wow, it's a fire. So automatically she grabbed her phone and called 911. Fire actually started in that basement, and as time went on, it just, of course, intensified. And 3 or 4 floors I ran up and down just to ensure that everybody was out of that building or were aware that what was going on. Except for the elderly couple. The elderly couple was still in there. The gentleman didn't want to leave his wife because his wife had, problems walking or what have you. So when we realized that the elderly couple was still there, myself and the Polizei ran back upstairs. When we got to the elderly couple, it did the hallway, the stairwell started filling up with smoke, and we could feel the heat. Polizei officer, he grabbed a hold of the elderly lady, took her down the stairs, and I assisted the gentleman down the steps. What motivated me is just I didn't want to see anyone get hurt. Do I think it's human nature? It's inside of everyone to want to help other people, of course. When I did it, I didn't even think give any kind of second thought about it. I just ran in there.
And I believe everybody has it in them, and it's just a matter of whether or not you're put in those circumstances, to truly test it.
Taking that initiative or having that intestinal fortitude to go in and help somebody when they're in need.
During times, just situations of just mass chaos, just someone out there just mans up. They step up to the plate. They do what needs to be done. They take that initiative because they know that the guys next to them are depending on it.
Valor is disregarding self-preservation and detaching yourself emotionally and cognitively from an intense situation and just getting your job done.